Welcome aboard, folks, and welcome back to my regular viewers. My name is Rod, and in today's video, I will be giving you pro tip number 3, and it is about the mighty checklist. Checklist discipline. It is one of those pillars of aviation, as I have been addressing many of them, that is fundamentally important for us to have a thorough understanding of in order for us to conduct a safe operation. So, tip number 3, thou shall do the checklist. It is a checklist. It is not a to-do list. It is not a memory item. It is a checklist. So, by definition, it is a list of items that you should have already performed and that you are now checking to make sure that they were done appropriately, accordingly. Over here in front of me is the Embraer 145 checklist. This used to be my backup checklist, and obviously I took it from my flight kit of the past, so it is intact and it is very old, but it is laminated, so it's still in brand new condition. Now, there are many different types of checklists out there. Of course, they're specific to each airplane, but beyond that, there's a great difference in a flight crew environment, multi-crew, and single pilot. The idea, though, is still the same. You will have a flow or something that you have to do, a sequence of items and switches that you must inspect prior to running the checklist. When you get to the checklist, you will then verify that those things were in fact done. Now, it is impossible to verify if they were done or to run the checklist appropriately if, number one, you're not reading the checklist, you're doing it from memory, because then you can miss an item, not even know about it. The other thing, too, is it is not possible to conduct the checklist properly if you're not visually inspecting the item that you are referring. For example, in the receiving checklist over here, I have the first item is parking brake set. Well, you need to make sure that the parking brake is set. You don't just say it out loud and not look at it. Every single item must be verified. Now, if you're single pilot ops, you parking brake set, and then you verify whatever needs to be verified in order for you to confirm that the parking brake is set. System differences between aircraft will then dictate what constitutes the parking brake being set. To some, it may just be one light, or just a lever, or the combination of a lever and a pressure gauge. So then you go into technical details associated with each individual aircraft. However, you must read the item, know what the response is, and then know how to verify that the stated response is in fact the status of the system that you are finding. Now, all this is incredibly simple once you have gotten to know your aircraft, especially after you've conducted a few hundred flights on your aircraft. I mean, this stuff is just ingrained as part of your DNA. And then the challenge really begins, because when you're learning the aircraft, the checklist might be an easy aspect of the operation. You are very cautiously going about the checklist and making sure that you did all those items. However, will you have that level of attention after you've done it 1,000 times or 2,000 times? So ideally, you will have the discipline necessary to conduct the checklist in a reliable and consistent fashion, no matter how many flights you've conducted, right? That's the objective. And what you have to do is just bring your consciousness into the present, right? Bring yourself into the moment. Be focused in the now. Eliminate all those other variables that may distract you. I made a video talking about the I Am Safe checklist where I address things that before the flight can impact yourself into the flight, and how you do need to compartmentalize your life. When you're in the flight deck, you're in the flight deck to get the job done in the best manner that you can, whether you're single pilot operations or the captain of a 777. It doesn't matter. It's the same level of responsibility, because if something is to happen and you crash and die, well, it's game over no matter what you're operating. So it is the same self-preservation mechanism in place, right? So bring yourself to the moment, remain focused, clear your mind, execute the checklist. Now, its simplicity is rather deliberate. It must be simple in order for it to be accomplished consistently, reliably, and repeatedly for many, many times. Now, on the flip side, its simplicity becomes mind-numbing, right? I mean, you're just like, oh, I gotta run this again. And it's so easy. I don't even need to look at it. I know I did it right. And all those mental barriers come in, right? Where they're getting in the way of you performing the checklist appropriately in the right way. So it is very important to have proper checklist discipline and to do the checklist as it's intended, a checklist, a list of items that you will read and visually inspect the items that you are supposed to have conducted, and then you will visually inspect that the items were conducted in accordance with what the checklist states. Again, its simplicity is to ease in compliance and adherence, but then at the same time, its simplicity creates the difficulty of adhering to it after you've conducted it several thousand times. Now, no matter what, no matter how many times, you must adhere to the checklist every single phase of flight. That is one of those pro tips that really do distinguish greatly those who are not so good pilots to the excellent pilots. And folks, that is it. That is all. Quick tip number 3. Next week, I will be giving you tips on how to ace airline pilot interviews. There have been several requests on the channel to address airline pilot interviews, so I'll be making a video. Feel free to let me know down below. I don't think I'll make everything in one video because then it'll be too long and probably nobody's going to watch it. So I'll probably break it down, but not break it down into so many times, but I'll break it down into a few parts so that it's a good length video and provide you with some constructive tips on how to ace that airline pilot interview. That's coming up next week. As always, thank you for your support. Like, subscribe. That is the name of the game on this channel. Many great new things will be coming to the channel. We'll be launching different types of products on our website and here on the channel as well, in order to help me continue making these videos for you. And hopefully we can slowly transition also to some real world live flying in general aviation. Anyway, folks, I digress. I'm excited. I do thank you for being here and sharing your time with me. And until next time, as always, fly safe. And remember, do your checklist.